Hello from Ukraine!
Hello from Ukraine!
Hello from Ukraine!
Hello from Ukraine!
Hello from Ukraine! Привіт з України!
Привіт з України!
Привіт з України! Привіт з України!
Привіт з України!
Yeah, so the TEFL program for Peace Corps, which stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language, came to Ukraine in 1993. It basically has three main goals. The first is to develop teachers and to give them more ways of teaching and resources for teaching that can help them teach in a more student-centered way. Second is to develop students and to develop their skills and abilities, both in English as well as in other things like soft skills like leadership. And then the third is to develop schools and communities and other educational organizations to give them more resources to be able to do their job as well as possible.
Since getting a volunteer at our site, my English has improved, and all the other teachers in our school are also happy to work with the volunteer, and they're improving their pronunciation and their teaching skills. We do a lot of workshops together for the teachers of our town community, and all the teachers are very excited to come and participate in all our workshops and discussions.
A big part of what we do here as TEFL volunteers is we do team teaching with our Ukrainian counterpart, and this has been excellent for me. I did have a few years' experience teaching before I came here in English as a foreign language classrooms, but I have learned so much team teaching with my counterpart, Lyudmila. She was such a wonderful teacher. I couldn't believe it when I showed up. I feel that I learned more from her than she learned from me, but I still felt very useful here as a volunteer because one big thing that I feel that I did for my counterpart was I supported her with her big ideas. And I said, yes, you can do it. And I tried to encourage her when we taught together, when we did bigger projects like community cleanup or our summer camps. And not just you could do it, but we can do it.
Teaching with a Peace Corps volunteer has been a completely different experience for me. When Matthew came to our school, I felt that we had access to much more resources, including the internet resources, videos, printed resources, and so on and so forth. And I can say that my students feel much more comfortable working with different types of resources due to Matthew and the work that Peace Corps does in Ukraine.
The best part for me about having a volunteer in our school is that our children became highly motivated to learn English. They are very engaged. They participate during the lessons so eagerly, and they come to clubs.
Dress.
Fix into. I hope you enjoy the
Why don't you learn how to read?
newspaper.
I am a student of School 6 in Voznesensk, and I will be in 9th grade next year. My favorite part about having a Peace Corps volunteer in my town is spending time together, and I like the clubs. My favorite clubs are movie making club and board game club.
So for me, Peace Corps volunteers help me be more sociable, and they are funny.
Peace Corps volunteers has helped me to become more fluent in English, and they also taught me some American traditions.
Most students feel afraid of speaking English, of making mistakes, and it's one of the biggest problems for us teachers of English. And again here, with the help of the volunteer, I think that we managed to get rid of that type of uneasiness and maybe, I don't know, fear to make mistakes and so on. And now I feel that my students feel much more comfortable speaking English and delivering their ideas, thoughts, and so on. So they just are not afraid to make mistakes anymore, which makes me really happy as a teacher.
Thanks to the volunteer we have in our school, we had a lot of other Peace Corps volunteers engaged in different our workshops. We had a great acting workshop in April this year, and the students were super engaged in this workshop. And also I was surprised how much engaged were the teachers and how very happy they were to participate in this workshop. It was on Saturday and it was a day off, but everybody was so happy to be there.
Freeze!
Police officer, help me! She grabbed my t-shirt.
Did you guys have fun?
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys enjoy
You are
yourself?
so crazy. You are so creative. Thank you very much.
So much of the difference a Peace Corps volunteer makes may not be felt immediately, but you'll start to hear from community members and even see for yourself how the presence of a native speaker motivates these students to learn English because they now have a tangible reason to improve their language skills. So at my site, we started a pen pal exchange program between my Ukrainian students and American students back at my old school. And they were both so excited to communicate with each other. Almost every day my Ukrainian students would ask, "Oh, did we get our letters yet? Did we get our letters yet?" And so I found it was a nice way for them to engage in a bit of cultural exchange and for them to have a little bit of practical application of their language skills.
Ми дуже раді, що ви нам відправили листи, і ми вас дуже кохаємо. Says his friend.
That is his friend.
Hi, Kesha. I have a pen pal in the United States. Her name is Katie, and she lives in Pennsylvania. We have been writing for more than a year. My pen pal and I talk about school, pets, our hobbies, or rooms. I want to tell her that if she wants to learn Ukrainian, I can teach her Ukrainian, and she can be my teacher of English. Hi, Katie.
The final part of the TEFL project is reserved for larger projects, big projects. So these can be school or university based, or they can be community based. Something that I've been doing at my university is doing community professional development for teachers at the university, but also the teachers of the entire city. Some other Peace Corps volunteers have been doing has been to offer English clubs strictly for the police department in their towns or within their communities. This really helps, especially within my community where we get a lot of in-country tourism, and we seek out larger, more diverse populations who speak English. So having a police department that speaks English is really helpful. Something that I do is I take my professional development on the road, and I'm able to go to different communities and provide that professional development for teachers across the country.